Hello, welcome to Tech Talk number 18. My name is Chris Collins. I'm with Jaspersoft's technical support team. Today I'm going to talk about upgrading JasperReports Server. First I'm going to go through a few slides to give some general information as well as a few things to look out for when upgrading. Then I'm going to go through a demonstration of upgrading an existing installation with both the WAR file installer and with the overlay upgrade package. We always recommend upgrading to the latest version to take advantage of all the new features and enhancements as well as bug fixes. So this should be useful for anyone that's planning to upgrade and wants to get more familiar with the upgrade process. Okay, the upgrade packages. There is the WAR file installer package. This can be used to actually install a fresh copy of JasperReports Server as well as upgrade an existing installation. The overlay installer is a different package, a separate package. This is used to upgrade only. This is fairly new and it has a few beneficial features. One is that it assists in identifying modifications to the application's files. It will provide a report to the user during the upgrade process so that the user can identify what files have been modified so that they can migrate those changes to their new upgraded version. There's also a rollback feature. This allows the user to roll back the upgrade if they run into any problems during the upgrade process or afterwards. This is also only available for the Pro version. So customers with a commercial license, they can download this through the support portal. Okay, a couple notes on upgrading with the WAR installer. If you're upgrading from 3.5, you always have to upgrade to 3.7 first before upgrading to any other version. Also, if you're upgrading to version 5.1 from 3.7, you have to upgrade to version 4.0 first. The good news is that later versions, 5.2 and 5.5, you can upgrade directly to those versions from 3.7. One other note, make sure you check the supported platform datasheet prior to your upgrade, just to make sure that your Java version, your database, and your app server is still supported. The most important one here being probably the Java version, I guess, because support for 1.5 was dropped, I believe, in version 4.5 of JasperReports Server. So if you're running version 1.5 of Java, you need to upgrade that to at least 1.6 if you're going to upgrade to JasperReports Server 4.5 or later. The overlay upgrade, this has been available since version 5.1. It only supports Tomcat. There's some discussion about adding support for other application servers, but that hasn't happened yet. With the overlay upgrade, you can upgrade from any version from 4.0 on to versions 5.1 through 5.5. Okay, let's jump right in. Okay, so what I'm starting with here, I've got a CentOS operating system. This is a virtual machine that I've set up. I have an existing installation of version 3.7 here, running on Tomcat 6. I'm going to upgrade first from 3.7 to 5.2 with the WAR file installer, and then I'm going to upgrade from 5.2 to 5.5 with the overlay installer, so I can demonstrate both of the upgrade methods. There isn't any particular reason I chose that path. It was just so I could demonstrate both of them. The installation I have here existing is a WAR file install. This is a good time to mention that these upgrade steps are for WAR file install only, meaning that your existing installation needs to be a WAR file installation. There is a bundled installation package that we provide. You can upgrade a bundled installation, but it's not really recommended. The reason being it causes a little bit of confusion, and I'll show you why. In a bundled install, all of your resources are thrown into the installation folder, including Tomcat, your Build-O-Matic scripts, your documentation, and so forth, samples. When you use or when you upgrade an existing installation, it's only going to upgrade your actual application. So inside your application server, inside its deployment folder, which in Tomcat is this web apps folder, this is where your application actually lives. This is all that gets upgraded. So in a bundled install, this gets upgraded, but none of these things do. So your Build-O-Matic scripts, which include your import and export scripts, these may not work if they're for an older version. So inside the WAR installer or the overlay package, it's going to also package in new Build-O-Matic scripts here, and those are going to be the ones you want to use moving forward. So this is going to focus on upgrading with an existing WAR installation. So I've got my Tomcat directory here. There's my Jasper server folder. And here we have it all running nicely. So we want to upgrade to version 5.2 with the WAR installer. So I've downloaded the WAR zip file, which can be downloaded from the support portal or from community if you're running a community version. Once you extract it, you're going to get a folder like this. Okay. This includes the new documentation, the Build-O-Matic scripts, samples, and so forth. So first thing to do is to look at the documentation. You want to follow this during your upgrade. Make sure you don't skip any steps. So you'll notice that there's two different upgrading chapters. If you're upgrading from a version just prior to the one you're upgrading to, then you can use these steps. If you're upgrading from an older version, you're going to want to use these steps here, this chapter. The only difference is the script that you run. There is, let me show you this. So here you see the script that you run to upgrade is samedb.bat or samedb.sh. That's another thing I'll mention. These steps are also going to apply to Windows. The only difference is you're going to run these batch scripts instead of the shell scripts. When you're upgrading from a prior version or an older version, you're using this new db.bat file, and then you're going to feed it your export from your previous installation. With the same db.bat or .sh script, it's just going to run a script to modify the existing database. Since it's from a prior version, it needs to make some minor changes, basically. With this new db script, it's going to completely drop and rebuild the database and then load in your data. So starting from the beginning, here's a general overview of the upgrade path, the upgrade steps. You're going to want to back up your server first, of course. Always a good idea. You're going to export your repository data, and in the backup, you're going to want to back up both the existing WAR file and your database. So to back up the WAR file, you can simply copy this folder to another location. So we're going to just copy this to the Tomcat folder. Call it Jasper Server Pro Backup. Oops. Oh, what am I missing here? Oh. There we go. Okay, so we're copying this entire folder to the Tomcat directory just for safekeeping. This way we can restore the application if there's any problems. So the overlay installer will do this for you, but when you're using the war installer, you're going to have to do this manually. All right, so now we've got our Jasper Server Pro backup here. Then we can, let's also back up the Jasper Server database. So I'm running MySQL. So I can run SQL dump. I think that should do it. Okay, we got it. All right, so moving forward, we've done this. We've done the backup. We've copied the WAR file. We've dumped our database. So the next step is to export the repository data from our existing installation. So I'm assuming that you've got your install working properly. You've got the scripts, the import and export scripts configured. Let's go here. So my existing install is the scripts are in this war archive. Let's see here. I got an old one here. Let's just remove that. Okay, so we're going to export. By the way, the usage of these export scripts are documented in the admin guide. But this is what you're going to want to do. You're going to want to export everything. Let's put that in a zip file. And we'll call this 3.7 export.zip. Oh, I was in the wrong directory. So in 3.7, they're located in the scripts folder. In later versions, they're actually in the Build-O-Matic directory. So we're going to export everything from the repository. Should only take minutes. All right. Yeah, I didn't have much there. That was really just a minimal install. Okay. Ooh. Jumped ahead there. All right. So we've exported everything. Here's the command. Also, it gives you okay, so we've already downloaded the zip archive, which is what I have here. Okay, so the next step to prepare for the installation. Inside this Build-O-Matic directory in the war archive, there is a sample conf folder. This includes a file for each supported repository database. And what this does is this has information to point to your database and your application server for the upgrade. So in my case, I'm running MySQL. So what you do is you copy the sample file, the sample properties file, to the Build-O-Matic directory, so one step down from the sample directory, and you rename it to default master.properties. So you take this file, and it goes down one, and then I've got one here that I've already made. Let's look at it. So I'm pointing to my app server type is Tomcat 6. You set the directory, which this is mine. Your database type is listed here, and you need to set up your host IP address or host name, and the username and password. There's a few other settings. For example, if you have a different port, you're going to want to uncomment this and change the port. If you want to change the name of the application, well, this is, if you've changed it in your default install, you're going to want to change it here. If you haven't changed this, you don't want to change it during your upgrade. So I've got this all set. It's all pointing to the correct place. Let's go in here. This is the same directory I'm going into here, this war archive. So these are the same directories here. So you'll see that the scripts, the install script and the upgrade scripts all live in this Build-O-Matic directory. Okay, so the actual upgrade. So here's the command. You're basically just going to run the script and give it the path to your export from the previous version. One suggestion I have here is there's a test function on the script where it'll just run through a dry run and test to make sure everything's set up properly. So you can say JS upgrade new DB test, send it to test parameter, and then we can point to the correct export from 3.7. Let's see, what did I call that? 3. My export? No, that's not what I called it. Did I call it 3.7 export? I don't see it here. Oh, there it is. Just blind. Okay. So this will do a test run. So it says build successful here, so we know everything went okay. Let's make this a little bigger. So it just went through its checks to make sure that everything is in order to upgrade. So we can run that command again, but without the test parameter, and it will go through the upgrade process. So the installer is creating the new database and now loading all of the resources into the new database. There it goes. One thing that I think I kind of skipped, which it may not be a big deal, but I think it's recommended to stop your application server. I think that's something you're supposed to do. I think I failed to do that, but hopefully everything goes okay. We'll check after this is finished. So it's copying the new WAR file now. Should be almost finished. Okay. So let's go ahead and stop Tomcat now. So a few things you want to do after your upgrade. You're going to want to clear both the temp and the temp and work directories. These two directories here. So let's go into temp. Just remove everything here. And work. All right. Additionally, you want to clear your browser cache. All right. Let's start Tomcat and see if we were successful. All right. I can also look at the log here while it's starting up. All right. Should be about done. Let's check it out. Still working. All right. And there we are. Version 5.2, as you can see here. So we've successfully upgraded to 5.2. Okay, so the next piece is the overlay installer. Let's see if I'm still logged in here. Well, in any case, that can be downloaded from, the overlay installer can be downloaded from the support portal under the JasperReports Server downloads. It's an overlay zip file, which I will show you. I think I still have it. Yep. So this is the file that you'll get. Once you extract it, it's going to be this overlay folder. By the way, now that I've upgraded to 5.2, I'm going to want to use if I want to use the import and export utilities, I'm going to use the ones that are inside this archive that I just installed from. Inside the Build-O-Matic directory, there are import and export scripts there, so those are the ones you're going to want to use. Similarly for the overlay, once you install or upgrade with the overlay, there is a Build-O-Matic directory there that includes the same scripts. Okay, so the overlay installer is documented also in the install guide. So I'm going to close this install guide because that's from 5.2. We're going to look inside the 5.5 guide. Let's see if I have that. Actually, not sure that I have that, but I think the documentation is the same. So let's move forward with this. I don't think anything has changed there. But the overlay upgrade is documented here in the install guide. Similar to the WAR upgrade, you're going to want to back up your instance. And again, you can upgrade from any of these versions to any of these versions here, all of these, from 4.0 on, you can upgrade to 5.1 through 5.5. Okay. So similarly, we want to back up the database. The good thing about the overlay upgrade is it's going to actually back up the WAR file for you, and I'll show you that. Let's do another database dump because the database dump has to be done manually. The overlay is not going to do that part for you, and it's going to kind of ask you during the install if you've done that just to be sure. Of course, you can say yes, I've done it, and not actually have done it. But of course, it's a good idea to back up your database. So, so if you don't do this, you're not going to be able to use the rollback feature if something goes wrong. So I'm going to back up my Jasper server database again. This time I just put it in the overlay folder for safekeeping. Okay, so with the overlay upgrade, stop Tomcat. This is the part I missed before, so let's make sure we do that. Let's stop Tomcat. Okay, so inside the overlay installer, you've got this overlay script here, and you just run overlay install, and it's going to work you through some steps. Let's just go ahead and do that. All right. Okay, so first it asks you for a working folder. This is a workspace that the overlay installer is going to use to, it's going to back up the WAR file there. It's going to build your new WAR file there. Logs, I believe, will go there. In addition to your the report. I believe the report for the changes, any modifications, is going to bring a report to tell you if there's been any modifications to the file, to the application's files there. So it's just wanting to create a workspace, one folder down, which is fine. So I'll just accept the default here. So it's asking me, and did I back up my JasperReports Server database, which I have done. The default's no, so I'll hit Y here, yes. It's warning me to stop Tomcat, which I've done, so yes. Okay, so now it wants the path to my my default master.properties file. And so remember that we configured this for 5.2, and that's the version we're currently running. So we're going to want to point to the default master.properties file that we created before. So that was in installers, JasperReports Server 5.2 Build-O-Matic folder. So there it is, default master.properties. So I'm just going to copy this to make it easier. Paste that here. And it's default master.properties. Okay. So it's asking for the path to the application folder. It's looking in the default master.properties file to assume that this is where it is, and of course this is where it is, so we'll take the default. So it's backing up the existing WAR file for you. So now it is now it's generating the patched the patched WAR file, the upgraded WAR. So now it's going. Now it's generated. It has generated the report. If I had made any modifications, it would show up here. In fact, I can go through the process one more time to show what will happen. Inside the workspace folder that it's created, there's a reports folder. So there's a text-based report. It's a little more difficult to read. This one's pretty nice, the HTML report, because it's nicely formatted, and you've got these options to hide non-customized files. It's of course going to show a lot of them, I believe. Right. So I haven't modified things. It's warning me on these because the installer created these, and it gives you a little message here to tell you, and it gives you some information on what these different statuses mean. In my case, I didn't change anything, so I don't have to worry about this. I'm just going to tell it, yes, I have reviewed the upgrade report. Yes. And while this process is going on, so again here, say you had modified your JasperReports.properties file in some way, or even modified a class and a jar file, all that would appear here so that the user could review this and migrate their changes. During this time, before you move forward with the actual installation, what you would do is go inside this overlay workspace. This is your backed up WAR file, and this patched directory is the patched WAR for the upgrade. So you would go in here and make all your modifications. You would migrate anything that would show up here. If you want to migrate your changes, you would put them in this patched folder, and if it's something in here in the WebINF folder and so forth. Once you've done that, you would go ahead and click yes here, and it would go through this upgrade process. Okay, so it says that it was successful. Let's go ahead and start up Tomcat again. All right. One thing I did fail to do is clear the temp directory. And actually, I was going to demonstrate. I did find a little issue. I believe it's from not clearing the browser cache. And if, of course, since I'm not running any reports and it's probably not accumulating stuff in the Tomcat's temp directory, it's probably not going to make a difference here. But on the browser side, I noticed one issue. We'll see if it shows up here. But I'll show you why it's important to clear the browser cache. And it's not going to do any harm. I mean, if you forget to clear the temp and work directories, it could cause some odd behavior. But you can always go back and clear that to resolve the issue. It's not something that would be permanent. So, okay, we should have an upgraded application here. Okay, so let's click this. So see how the About screen did not pop up? That's because we didn't clear the browser cache. So JavaScript files and stuff get cached by the browser, and so something's not right here. So if I clear everything and reload this page, this should work. There we go. So we're running 5.5. Our upgrade was successful. Okay, let's see if we can roll it back now. All right. So here's the rollback stuff. It's just overlay rollback, and it's going to have you restore your database. Let's see, overlay rollback. Okay, so it's asking for the working folder that we used, which we just used the default. It's in the folder ahead of one folder down in overlay workspace, the default. So let's check that. Stop Tomcat. Okay. All right, so we've stopped Tomcat. We can hit yes here. Have we rolled back our database? No, let's do that. So we put that in here. Let's see, actually, first I'm going to go ahead and drop that first and then restore it. So there's the Jasper server database. I'm just going to drop it. All right. All right. So we've got an empty database now. Let's load it up. Okay. So that should be done. Yes, we have restored that. Now it's going to restore the WAR file that it saved in its workspace folder. So it's restoring this backup here. After this, we should be back to our 5.2 version. Okay. It says it was successful. Let's let's go ahead and clear Apache's temp folder. Might not be anything there. Okay. Start that. Go ahead and clear the cache here again. All right, we got Tomcat starting. Okay, should be loading up here. Excellent. So we've successfully rolled back to the previous version. Now let me quickly demonstrate the overlay's ability to detect modifications. So now we have a copy of 5.2. I'm going to make a quick modification, go through the overlay upgrade process one more time, and just show that the report will point these out. So I'm just going to make some change into the JasperReports.properties file. We'll make charts render in HTML5 rather than Flash. Something like that. Okay. Now I'm going to actually delete the overlay workspace. So we're going to start over. Okay, so we're starting fresh. Overlay install. I'm not going to bother backing up this time. Well, we've got a copy of it anyways. Yes, we're going to use that same path. Yes, we backed it up. We already got a copy of that. It's always reminding me to stop Tomcat. Okay. I'm going to need the path. I'm going to need the path to the default master.properties file. So we'll just grab that while we're here. Yes, Tomcat, stop now. Master.properties file is here. Yes, that path is correct to our application. So it's going to back up the war file again and create the patched version of the war file. Okay, so now it's saying that it's generated the report. So let's take a look at that. Let's see, overlay workspace. Now here's the reports folder. So now notice that it's pointing to the JasperReports.properties file. It says, please look at instruction for conflict section at the top. It's saying that the file was modified. So I've modified this file in some way. So it does a diff on the, or not a diff, but it checks to be sure that the file has not been modified, and it warns the user here. So what you can do is go into the overlay workspace in the patched folder and make your modifications here. So what we did is we went into WebINF classes, JasperReports.properties, and we made some modifications to this file. So I would just migrate my changes and change these settings to use HTML5 charts instead of Flash. Once that's done, you can continue with the upgrade and say yes here. So, of course I didn't make the changes, but you get the idea. That applies to XML files, jar files, like I said. Any modifications, it's going to warn you, including files that you've added there. Those will show up, and so forth. So I hope this demonstration was helpful. Again, my name is Chris Collins, and that's the end of the Tech Talk. Thank you.